everyone, and welcome to Masterclass. I'm John Tanalia. Today, we're going to hear a lovely young mezzo soprano, Deepa Johnny. Her panelists are Barbara Dever, Judith Skinner, George Hogan, Daniel Pantano, and Maestro Hugh Kronrot. Please sit back and enjoy the live singing.
Hello, everybody. My name is Deepa Johnny. I will be singing Tanti effetti from Rossini's La Donna del Lago. Tanti affetti in tal momento mi si fanno al cuore intorno che l'immenso mio contento io non posso del silenzio. Io lo tace, tutto dica, un tronco cento, ah, Signor, la bella pace. Tu sapresti a me donar. Tu sapresti a me Fra l'amante, oh, qual spera poteva, a chi spera poteva, tanta felicità, tanta felicità, fra il padre e fra la mandera, quale a toi standera, a chi spera poteva, tanta felicità, fra il padre e fra la mandera, quale a toi standera, a chi sperar poteva, tanta felicità, a chi sperar poteva, tanta felicità, a chi sperar poteva, tanta felicità,
Wow. Okay. All right. Let me make sure I get you in unpinned here. And my goodness. Wow. Okay. And who is your accompanist, if you don't mind?
Oh, this is Lucas Nogara. I'll just
Hello, Lucas. Congratulations. Very, very, very beautiful playing. Okay. All right. Can we start with Barbara, please?
Oh, wow. Okay. What a great thing to hear you. Beautiful, beautiful, elegant singing. Um, Before we jump in and talk to you a lot, can you just give us a little couple of sentences about where you are in your journey?
Yeah, for sure. Well, right now I'm in my final year of my master's at Indiana University. I'm singing from Bloomington, Indiana, and I've been singing for the past 5 years.
Okay. Maybe as you're talking to us, come a little closer to your, yeah, yeah, that's great. We can see you and hear you a little better. Okay, great. So you're finishing your master's this year?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, super, super. That's just good for us to know where you are in the process. I just want to say that was some wonderful, elegant singing, and this is, of course, an aria that we don't hear often. And because Joyce Donato had it staged for her at the Met, we now get to hear a lot of this of the wonderful music within this composition. It's quite a tour de force, and you've done a great job with it. Uh, I really like your singing. Of course, I sang dramatic mezzo rep all of my career, but I've been teaching now for 15 years too. So the things I'm going to say to you are, just more or less about refinements that you can add. I noticed at the very beginning, as you started, a couple of things. And I'm only speaking about this because we're listening to you to give you these refinements as if you're going to an audition and you've heard that old refrain that sometimes in the very first 30 seconds, the auditors are going to hear what they either like or don't like, about your singing. So I would say really work to give us perfect diction in the first, line. I don't mind hearing tanti affetti. I'd love to hear the initial T. And I know you were gliding into your legato, and I don't mind hearing that initial little, plosive consonant. In un momento, I think you could hug that oo vowel a little bit more. And then I didn't hear fanno. I didn't hear the double there. So right away on the first page, I'm thinking, wonder what I'm going to hear as far as the Italian for the rest. This is just the way our minds work. Okay. The singing is just excellent, excellent. Portamento, a couple of times you didn't stay on your pure vowel sound, which I would like in the bel canto style. The first big example was de il silenzio. I'd love to hear you just stay on the pure vowel sound and not curb towards the N at all. Just let us hear that beautiful portamento. And then technically, when you have those beautiful cadenzas where you have, let's see, I'm looking at the score. You have a couple of spots where you have an A sharp, an A flat, A natural, and then the beautiful B flat. I would love to hear the A natural point more truly in pitch to the B flat.
Okay.
I think it's a beautiful spot there in that cadenza, and it sort of sets you up for the B flat to spin if you really sing. Yeah, and my piano's out of tune as everybody's is in COVID time, but you know that to hear that A natural really ping would be a great addition. I like the way you're handling the way you move up and down through your registrations. I think that sounds very, very healthy and lined up, and just lots of wonderful things. You're going to have some more ideas from the rest of the panel. I'd love to say more, but let's let everybody have a chance. Beautiful job, beautiful singing.
Thank you, Barbara. Okay, can we go to Judith, please?
Hello, Deepa. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Beautiful singing. Absolutely, truly enjoyed it. I may reiterate some of the things that Barbara just mentioned. I will try not to. I started crossing things off so that we don't keep all telling you the same thing. I do believe you have a beautiful portamento in this piece. It was beautiful. I just think that sometimes you were coming off the breath as you were coming down. We all get very relaxed as we're coming down. And if you stay a little bit more connected to the breath, I think it will be easy for you to end the phrase without it feeling like it was collapsing. And a few of them, it seemed to me like you were just like, okay, I'm getting rid of this. And it seemed like it was collapsing. I think you have great registration as well through from the highs to the low. It was absolutely beautiful. I would be very careful about throwing away certain phrases and really think about taking phrases all the way through the through line. But I'm a singer as well, and I know that at a certain time you just are like, "Ooh, I got through that phrase. Okay, let's move on." But if you, I know, but you say next breath without connect.
Judith, you're breaking up a little bit.
And the last thing I want to talk about is I know that this is. Am I? Oh, so sorry.
That's okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now I can. Yes.
Clear. Okay. And then the last thing I'll talk about is the dramatic intent, because I know this is at the end of the opera. She's very happy that she's with her love now, and they're going to be together. And I didn't seem to get a lot of that connection. So I would just really think about the dramatic intent, because it is the end, and she is so happy that now she can be with Malcolm, so I would think about when you're singing this piece and try to show a lot more of that joy and exhilaration throughout. That's all I'll say.
Thank you.
Great, Judith. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to
Who's next?
George Hogan, of course.
Okay. Well, I love your voice. Tremendous. And let me pull up my notes here because I did a few so I wouldn't sound completely inept. Okay, here we go. Really lovely sound, and I want to say thank you for singing for us today, and thank you, John, for having this platform as well for you guys. I think it's it's wonderful to have an opportunity to sing. And that being said, I'm just going to reiterate a lot of the things my two female colleagues had said. One is very impressive registration. I thought bottom to top, I never really had that feeling of range, which I love when I hear a singer. I don't want to feel range, oh, that's how, I just never felt that at all. It was very mellifluous. It was very beautiful. and the technique was extremely impressive, I thought. So you really made it effortless, and that one word that we all strive for, which is natural kind of singing. So definitely the rep for you. I would think Cenerentola would be in there as well. But your phrasing, very legato, very bel canto, as I thought was really great. So just a few nitpicky things for me. Especially before those double consonants in Italian, I would like for you to elongate that first vowel a little bit more. I'd like to hear, kind of like Barbara was talking at the beginning, we do have this out of the gate, 5 notes, and we kind of make up our mind on a lot of things. But, tanti affetti, just a little fetti instead of fetti, instead of going right to the double T. And that kind of occurred throughout a lot of the piece. So I would like to have a little longer vowel on that. And then I think the others, you have a lovely smile. Now, I'm not advocating sing with a smile. That's not easy. But certainly where you can at the end there, felice, you don't want to sound like a bass singing infelice. You want to sing the felice, right? Be happy. I think that's exciting. Now, I know that it's not always exciting, with tenors. Some you don't really care to sing with, I guess. But, in this case, I would pretend that, he's a nice guy, and I'm just kidding. But anyway, the other thing I would say at the end, this is just me, and I know it's a little bit more schmaltz, but you have such a tremendous voice. I would hang on that B flat, man.
Okay.
I would hang on the B flat and check my watch at least once before I came off of it, just to really, put the dot on the exclamation point. But really, really lovely voice. I wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, George. Okay, let's go to Daniel, please.
I'm unmuted now. Pleasure to meet you, Deepa. Congratulations. I'm going to acquiesce to the brilliant teachers and scholars in the room, and I'm going to do more front of the house. As I said in another one of these, I'm the guy sitting in the orchestra that bought the really expensive ticket. You better thrill me. Vocally, I love your voice. The register works. I love the full mezzo sound with the top. You could eat it up, definitely. I would say the thing that I was kind of missing was a little of the acting of it. If I was listening to you in audition, Barbara and George and Judith might think differently of the first measures and all. I would say, wow, okay, love the voice. Oh, okay, I hear where she's going with that. I hear the upper register, love it. I wanted to chew the scenery a little bit. I felt more Lieder-esque at times than Rossini-esque at times. I guess me not knowing the aria, I wasn't sure if you were happy or sad. Sitting in the house, it's like, okay, it's one thing if it's the final aria, we know that you're with the tenor, blah, 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 blah. It's Rossini. But I want to have a little bit more action to relate to or equal the singing, how very good the singing is. And I'm thinking of that solely from not a recital standpoint, but an audition standpoint. As everyone knows, you're the 47th person we're hearing. You better chew it a little bit, okay? You need to wake them up a little bit, and that doesn't mean, but it just means I want to feel and smell a little bit more of what you're doing, because what you're doing, singing-wise, is really, really well done. So I want to add the couple cherries on top of that. Yes, I love the idea of holding the B flat more. Yeah, why would I not? But I kind of feel at the end of that, I want to see the mental, gave it to you. Thank you so much for hearing me. So I think it's just getting out there and adding more to a brilliant and wonderful sound and musicality and musicianship. So that's me from the front of the house.
Great. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go to Maestro Hugh Kronrot, please.
Deepa, I enjoyed this very much, and I have to tell you that John asked me to do this about 24 hours ago. So I'm a little
That's why you make
unprepared.
the big bucks, Hugh.
I have, some familiarity with the song, the aria that you sang. It was lovely. Something I noticed, and perhaps this is more evident over something like a Zoom connection, is that when you sang longer notes or when you sang a syllable that was emphatic, your connection to your breath, I mean, your level of energy caused the intonation to be different from what it was in the running passages. It seemed to me, and I don't know if my colleagues, had the same experience that, especially in the latter section of the aria, that some of the running passages were not as accurately in tuned each note, and that generally you sang sharper than you did when you connected fully. This is not an uncommon situation, and Rossini, of course, is a minefield for this issue. And so I recommend to you when you practice this aria and many others, similar ones, that you first of all slow it down a bit so that you know that you are fully engaged physically as well as mentally. I mean, obviously, you know what you're doing and you've planned it. But I have the feeling that either by design, because you know you want to lighten up somewhat to make the running, the agilità function well, or just because it happens to you, that you lose a little bit of the sparkle, you lose a little bit of the control and the accuracy in those passages. The other thing I would like to comment on, and again, I'm not prepared fully for this. In the opening section, in the scena, in the accompanied recitative, if I can call it that, you did tell me a story. I got that, but there were moments when the level of engagement, for want of a better word, was not as high as others. And it is difficult. I mean, Rossini has a way of writing these long narrative sections, especially in slow tempos, where you must listen to the orchestra at times, for several beats or several bars between what you have to sing. And then you must somehow persuade us that all of it is part of your story and that the story flows from one to the other, flows from you to the orchestra, back to you, and so on and so forth. And that the story is not over, even at the end of this section of the aria, and even when we come to the let's say, the beginning allegro, the a tempo section. And that's a matter of planning. That's a matter of knowing before you start at what point you are in the architecture of the song. Rossini writes very long arias, right? This is something that's well over 5 minutes in length. And that's a long span for you to hold my attention as a listener and to bring me with you to the climax, to the main, to the greatest moment in the song. So I encourage you to do, give it some thought, work with it. And otherwise, I share, pretty much everything that's been said. You have a wonderful voice, you look great, and I encourage you very much to continue singing this repertoire.
Great. Thank you, Maestro. Okay, I think Barbara has some.
After Maestro Kronrot mentioned this, the times that I noticed you getting off pitch and sparkle sound and going sharp was when you added a lot of the flourishes just towards the end. So those are extra little cadenzas that you put in there right before your big splash at the end. And they're not in the score, right? So they're not, right? Am I correct?
I think they are in the score.
The last few that
Towards the end, right? I believe they are. Yeah.
in Felicita, Felicita, when you did all that, they are in the score.
The final cadenza isn't in the score.
Yeah, that's the one I want to talk about. That's where I'm going to say that's not necessary to do. And what George Hogan said, I would go for let the orchestra play that bum 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 bum, do a little flourish and get up to that high note and stun everybody, hang on to it and sing in line. The flourish is there. We're not as elegant as the rest of the aria as far as staying on pitch and staying in articulation, if we want to be really nitpicky. So in my humble opinion, they're not worth doing until you get the stamina more worked in and maybe you've done the role. You don't need to do those to show off to anyone. Doing what you did, singing the aria well and putting the refinements in are going to make you hireable for this role, because who else is going to be singing it? Quite frankly, not a lot of people. So I just want to encourage you, don't add things that don't need to be there, especially at the end of the long sing. Okay, so that's just an idea for you, for now to think of. Okay, you convinced us a lot as we went along, so you don't have to overdo it.
Great, thank you, Barbara. Yes, Deepa, I first, for a person who cannot sing Rossini worth a damn, believe me, I admire it, and I thought it was actually quite elegant. And it's for a difficult sing. I mean, I know what it is to try and sing this. Believe me when I tell you, I am the farthest thing from a Rossini singer that you ever want to hear. But I was very engaged with that. What else do you have for us?
I will be singing the Seguidilla from Carmen.
Very good. Okay, great. Wow, wonderful. Wow, okay. Now we're going to go in reverse. We're going to start with Maestro and work our way around.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I did enjoy this. One thing I have to point out is that, and this is more general than just in this aria or even in Carmen, French music, pretty much of all eras that I'm familiar with, is highly rhythmic music. That is to say that the tempo is very steady. The orchestration, as you know, in this aria is uniform pretty much throughout 95% of it. And while it is true that there's a certain space for rubato, a certain space to make love to the words, to the moments within the aria, it also has to be constrained somewhat by the music. And I had the feeling at more than a few places in the aria that it would have been difficult for me as a listener to feel that your rhythmical impulse was consistent with that of the orchestration of the accompaniment. So that's a musical comment I would make. There are a few tiny things in the diction. I will leave those to the voice teachers. Many of us find the French language less congenial than others, but I encourage you to devote some attention to that. Otherwise, I thought it was a very fine performance. And I wish you the best of luck with the role.
Thank you, Hugh. Okay, let's go to Daniel, please.
I enjoyed it very, very much. I will leave the technicalities to some of our three brilliant people that teach. I want to see you go a little further. If I'm watching it in an audition, I want to see your Carmen. It's great to see Deepa, but I want to see Carmen, and I want to see, if I'm going to produce this or direct this, I want to see how far can she go. Do I need to take her back a ways sometimes, like, okay, bring this down, as opposed to bring it out? I think it's one of those arias where you can make it your own. There's 1.5 million versions of it out there. You don't have to say, oh, this is what she did and I loved it. You take sections of all, but when she gets her hands untied, I wanted to see a little bit more action there. That's just me. Singing wise, I thought it was wonderful, very, very enjoyable. Very enjoyable. I will leave the technicalities to our brilliant trio there. And I'm going to say bravo, and I really enjoyed it.
Great. Thank you, Daniel. Okay, let's go to George, please.
Hey, Deepa. Again, really enjoyed your singing a lot. So a couple of things. First of all, I meant to compliment your accompanist the last time because I've sung a lot of Rossini, and there's nothing like singing Rossini with a really bad accompanist. And there's nothing like singing with a really good one. So bravo to him over there, and in this piece as well. So, hey, listen, when you enter into this out of the Rossini, you enter into a bigger pack of mezzos, so to speak, timbre-wise, everything else. So I think the look you have there, for me, I still think you could be competitive in this role with your voice and your looks. Have you sung it yet?
I did the tragedy of Carmen, the abridged version.
Oh, the tragedy. Yeah. Okay, that's a nice one. Yeah, absolutely. So I just, for me, I might be going on a little bit like Daniel was, but I want to feel a little bit more earthy character here. Just a little bit more. I mean, it's there, but I would just like to feel this. However you get there, I can't really tell you how to get there. Maybe Barbara or someone can, but how you get to earthy, but that type of feeling. Yeah. The other thing too, out of the gate in the beginning, one thing that I used to always do, I don't know if it's done very often anymore, even with the Rossini, I would do my solfege up to tempo on the runs, but I would also recommend at the very beginning of this. The first line to me was just a bit out of solid tune, if you will. And so for me, when I hear that, I'm on to the next mezzo for Carmen. And I think you can correct this a little bit because you did in the second and third phrase. One is, I thought the pharynx was a little squashed. So your vowels weren't quite as tall, especially the E vowel, and then the very ending A vowel of the Sevilla. It just was a little squashed, if you will. Would you mind singing that opening phrase again?
Yeah.
and think a little, just feel it sit down a little bit, be a little more tall with the vowel, and don't worry about putting the sound down. Don't be too soft. Hey, that was a lot better. That was a lot better. So just make sure that first phrase, it goes along with what everybody else has been talking about. You know, it's kind of like on a blind date. I don't know if you've ever been on a blind date.
Not yet.
John's wife was. When they first went out, it was a blind date. Or she would have never gone out with him. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, John. But hey, listen, you know, it's that, what do they look like? When you walk out on the stage, what do you look like? What kind of energy are you giving? And to be retro on the Rossini, when you get in the cabaletta and that ending there, this mind has to be going, I mean, it has to be so much, you know, energy going, I think, at the end to really burn. Yeah. So with that in mind, going back to some of this Sigadia, I think for me there, I don't know how you position that. With my mezzos, we talk about going through there. We actually go we go taller with the valve. We go a little bit more back in the vocal fold, if you will. And but anyway, that's all I have to say. Phenomenal singer. I really look forward to watching what happens with your career after you graduate. And remember, surround yourself with eagles. You can't soar with turkeys. Okay. Keep positive people around you.
Great.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, George. Okay, let's go to Judith, please.
My sign just said internet unstable, so we'll see. Oh, it's gone. Okay. Beautiful. I truly enjoy this. I've sung French a good deal, and I know what sometimes happens if you go from speaking French to singing French, where you close down and so sometimes it gets garbled. And so George's, point, elongating and opening it up more because you're singing it, really did work when he had you restart that. That was a great, great note. And it was one that I had here for you because I've sung French before and I know I do it too. And then I have to catch myself. And we talked about the diction, which I think if you speak through it a little bit more and sing through it on the breath, I think it'll flow a little easier for you. And the next thing I really want to talk about is the characterization of Carmen for you. I think your characterization of Carmen felt a deeper connection of you with this particular, but I do agree with Daniel to take it so far so that when you get in front of a director, they're pulling you back. If they feel they have to pull something out of you, it's a little harder for them to do that. I mean, it's Carmen. So your voice and the tone quality that you gave were so beautiful to it. I think it's a role that you could take far. You just have to commit completely to it. I mean, she starts the song out and her hands are tied, but she's trying to be conniving. So you just have to be the conniving. And then she uses a beast in the role of Carmen to draw everyone to you to the point where they are staring so deeply at you that everyone, as well as everyone on the stage, wants to see, okay, what is she gonna do? How is she's gonna draw him in, she's gonna get what she wants. And you just can't be afraid. It's one of those roles where you just have to rip the Band-Aid off and you just have to go there and have someone else say, okay, we need the PG version as opposed to you understand what I'm saying? You just can't be afraid with this role. And because of the tone quality that you have in your voice, I think you would be an amazing. Don't be afraid. So my only thing for you is work on your diction, work on those, fast notes, making sure they're completely in tone so that you're not thinking about them as you're singing them. Because you don't want to think about the notes when you're singing Carmen. You want to be so invested that the characterization, the music becomes second nature because you know it so well and you've done all of that homework. Then you throw the homework out the window and you ground yourself. You plant yourself in this character and you become Carmen. And that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Judith, as usual. Okay, let's go to the great Barbara Dever, please.
Don't do that. Beautiful job, beautiful singing, lots of great comments, lots of things that I agree with. I think that some people were already saying this in a different way. Pianissimo on the page is just throw it out. Just throw it out. You have to sing as if you're on stage at the Met, okay, which is a great acoustic, and you don't have to push, but you have to sing as if you are delivering this over the footlights, over the orchestra. And so your first entrance, I think the first time when you sang it, it was not in tune. It just was not your best, and we want to hear your best from the beginning. We want to hear it musically, and then we also want to see this character. So just cross out every double P and P on the pages and just sing. I always tell my singers, and I told myself, I wrote in my scores, sing. You've got to sing. You can't pussyfoot around, so to speak. I think that the comments about closing off the sound a little bit because it's French, they were spot on. You need to find that way to be as if you're singing Italian a little bit. Do the fishy mouth thing for French, you know, it's en français, s'il vous plaît. But back here, it is very, very tall, you know. And let's just face it. The whole thing is foreplay, okay? we just have to say it. So you have to go ahead and show us that you're not afraid to show that. When you sing the very first phrase, it's only part of the sentence. Près des remparts de Séville, chez mon ami Las Pastia, j'irai danser la Seguedilla, boire du manzanilla. J'irai chez mon ami Las Pastia. You know? So thinking through rather than letting it be, here's the next phrase. Carry it over as if it's a long line of stroking your tenors, you know, just getting up in his face and just starting to go, even though your hands are tied behind your back. I want to hear musically the A sharp, B, C sharp, all iguale. Later on, you can fool around with the stretching, some of the, not being as rhythmical, but this is correct that at the beginning, you need to be right on and show us that scale. Can you sing that just like, nya, 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 nya.
Okay. Nya, 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 nya.
Yes, look how there's a cloud of brilliance over your voice. Yeah. Try that with the words, but put it in that nya, nya.
Okay.
Wait. You cheated on the word de. You went près des remparts de de. You didn't breathe, but près des remparts de Séville. All the way through. Whoa, now you have us all mesmerized. That was foreplay, sex, everything Carmen is about. Sorry, but that's the way it happens in the opera. So you can do that. And then did you feel like you were staying on your core more through those 3 notes in that second measure? Then do it all the way. Shame on Amelia's pasture. Never fall back. She never is like washing. Like she's just clawing forward, with all of that. And musically, that's I think how you should approach this piece.
Mhm.
That's how she is. She doesn't give anybody any room, right?
That's right.
And I agree, it's a great role for you. Love it, enjoy it, sing, just sing. Your voice is great. Yeah, some of the stretches and the little waitings I didn't understand, because that's later when you get with the conductor. Once you get the job and he says or she says, "Oh, let's stretch it a little bit here." Don't do that too much in an audition, you know. And look at your lines and notice where those commas are, and don't phrase. Keep going, even though there's a rest or something happens in the music. You are just keeping your sentence going until the very end of the sentence. Okay, you know what I mean with that? Okay, great job.
Great, thank you, Barbara. Okay, listen, I did. You actually did not submit your a video actually to us. You were recommended, and I want to say that somebody close to me sent me your singing, and I was really impressed. Still think you have a wonderful, wonderful voice. I think that you have the potential to be an amazing singer, and the repertoire that you chose really, really does suit you well. I think that as everybody here knows, that I'm not a French nor a Rossini singer. So for some reason, they just never agreed with the Italianness of myself. But anyway, that being said, I think that you are marvelous. I really enjoyed your performance. And, I agree with what everybody said. Everybody has their own way of doing each character. And I agree with everybody, especially in the Carmen, that this you do want to be pulled back, and it's very hard because you're in front of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 strangers, so my thought of performing was always go for it. Don't leave anything on the table. Because you never know who's here or who's listening or what's going on, and I take it to the end. You're right. You do want to take it back. If you want the director to say, "Whoa, hold on, this is not X. We're going to go for maybe an R, restrict it." But what everybody told you vocally, and you'll see the difference too in your vocalisms and your colors, and the way that you start your phrases when you have that sensuality of Carmen, which you do. You just have to take it to the next level. I think that and sometimes in a college situation you got to take it easy too. So the character is character. So you have the potential to go for it. Do it. Don't let anybody stop you or say, just go for it. I think that you have a beautiful voice, and I wish you all the best, as everybody here does. I'm also going to offer, if you have anything that you need during your time, you can message any of us. We will be happy to help you in any way that we possibly can, and we wish you all the best, and I hope that I will be watching you once everything starts to open up again. I'm going to be sitting in the front row with the ticket saying, "I knew you when." I wish you the best. Thank you again, and thank you everybody for your time. I greatly appreciate it. Deepa, thank you so much. Congratulations. We wish you all the best.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Okay.
Thank you, Deepa.
Great. And thank you. I'm sorry, your accompanist. I'm sorry, the drugs I did in the 80s. I don't remember names. Thanks again. Great playing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks,
Okay.
Deepa.
Thank you, Deepa. Thank you, everybody.